Welcome to Talented Females. Today we explore the captivating story of a woman who built her own house. The 20-year-old woman built a house in the forest using bricks, cement, and a corrugated iron roof. Morning mist settles gently among tall trees, the forest feels quiet and focused. Tools are laid out carefully on the soil. Order at the start improves safety. Dry leaves crunch softly under slow steps. A stable clearing is chosen. Clear water pours into dry cement. Correct ratios ensure strong mortar. Sand and cement are mixed slowly. Even texture prevents weak points. The first brick settles into fresh mortar. This base row defines alignment. Each brick is pressed gently into place. Consistent spacing adds strength. Excess mortar is scraped away carefully. Clean joints resist moisture. Forest sounds blend with steady movements. A slow rhythm supports accuracy. Sunlight shifts as the wall begins to rise. Patience guides each step. Mortar lines are smoothed calmly. Smooth joints protect against rain. Tools rest briefly beside a tree. Short pauses allow settling. Another small batch of mortar is prepared. Fresh mix keeps strength consistent. Bricks are stacked within easy reach. Good organization saves energy. Brick meets mortar in steady rhythm. Repetition builds progress. A simple level checks the wall edge, early checks prevent later errors. Loose soil is brushed from the base. A clean foundation reduces moisture. The wall begins shaping the shelter. Each layer brings the home closer. A quiet pause lets the mortar breathe. Resting between layers improves durability. Bird calls echo softly through the clearing. Natural sounds help maintain focus. Another row of bricks is aligned by hand. Straight courses distribute weight evenly. Excess mortar drops gently to the soil. Cleaning as you go keeps the site safe. Sunlight warms the fresh brick surface. Gentle heat supports curing. Hands smooth the joints with care. Smooth finishes resist moisture. Tools are rinsed briefly in clean water. Clean tools work more precisely. Fresh mortar is mixed in small batches. Small batches prevent waste. Bricks rise row by row in steady rhythm. Consistency builds durability. The wall reaches knee height. Progress becomes visible. 30-100:009:10:00:00:09:14:000. A simple level checks alignment again. Frequent checks avoid future corrections. Loose debris is cleared from the base. A clean workspace improves safety. Mortar texture is adjusted slightly. Proper mix ensures strong bonding. Bricks are rotated to keep edges true. Uniform placement strengthens the wall. Hands pause as the mortar sets, patience protects alignment. Work resumes with slow, even movements. A calm pace reduces mistakes. Corners receive extra mortar, reinforced corners support the structure. Excess material is wiped away early cleaning saves effort later. Forest air flows through the clearing, fresh air keeps the body cool. Another layer begins quietly, steady repetition builds confidence. The wall now reaches mid-thigh, height increases gradually. Joints are smoothed with a damp cloth, moist finishing prevents cracks. Tools rest briefly beside a tree, order keeps the site calm. Fresh mortar is prepared again, consistency maintains strength. Bricks are placed with measured spacing, even gaps improve load balance. A gentle tap seats each brick, light force protects the edges. Sunlight shifts as the day moves on, time passes slowly during careful work. Another level check confirms straight lines, accuracy now prevents future issues. Loose sand is brushed from the wall face, clean surfaces bond better. Hands rest briefly to ease strain, short breaks preserve energy. Work resumes with steady breathing, controlled breathing supports endurance. Bricks approach waist height, the shelter shape becomes clearer. Mortar lines are refined carefully, clean joints resist weathering. Tools are wiped before reuse, clean tools improve precision. Another small batch is mixed, fresh mortar ensures reliability. Bricks are staggered for strength, staggering locks the courses together. Excess mortar is collected neatly, tidiness improves safety. Forest sounds return during a pause, nature sets a gentle rhythm. The wall reaches near waist height, progress feels steady. A level confirms the wall remains plumb, vertical accuracy supports upper loads. Loose debris is cleared again. A clean site reduces hazards. Mortar texture is checked once more. Correct consistency prevents weak joints. Bricks are aligned with careful siting, straight lines define the structure. Hands slow as fatigue appears, listening to the body prevents injury. A longer pause allows recovery, rest supports sustainable work. Work continues at a gentler pace, gentle pacing maintains quality. Corners are checked again for square-to-square corners ease later framing. Mortar fills small gaps along the joints, sealing blocks moisture and insects. The wall now reaches chest height, the space begins to feel enclosed. A cloth smooths the final joints of this section. Smooth finishes last longer. Tools are set aside for inspection. Inspection confirms solid work. The structure stands quietly among trees. Progress feels calm and steady. Fresh mortar is mixed for the next stage. Preparation keeps momentum. Bricks are stacked for easy reach. Organization saves effort. Hands begin the next course slowly. Careful starts set the tone. Mortar spreads evenly beneath each brick. Even beds improve strength. A gentle tap aligns the course. Alignment prevents leaning walls. Forest light shifts across the bricks. Changing light reveals imperfections. Small adjustments correct the line. Early fixes save time. The wall rises steadily again. Progress continues without rush. Mortar is smooth before it sets. Timing is important for clean joints. Tools are rinsed and placed neatly. Order maintains safety. Hands rest briefly against the wall. The structure feels firm. Another pause allows curing. Patience improves durability. Work resumes with renewed focus. Focus improves precision. Bricks approach shoulder height, the shelter shape becomes clear. Corners are reinforced once more to strong corners stabilize the walls. Excess mortar is removed promptly, clean lines resist weather. Forest sounds deepen as time passes, work blends with nature. A level confirms consistent courses, consistency builds confidence. Mortar consistency is checked again, reliable mix ensures longevity. Bricks are placed with practiced hands, experience shows in movement. The wall nears its planned height, completion feels closer. Hands slow to maintain accuracy, accuracy prevents rework. Final joints of this section are smooth, finishing touches protect the wall. Tools are set down gently, calm replaces effort. A quiet pause fills the clearing, stillness marks progress. The wall stands firm and even, strength is visible. Preparation begins for the next phase, building continues step by step. The journey moves forward calmly, each careful action shapes the home. A calm pause lets the mortar settle further, stillness improves bonding strength. Forest air moves gently across the wall, natural airflow aids curing. Hands prepare another small batch of mortar, fresh mix ensures consistency. Bricks are aligned carefully at eye level, higher courses require extra focus. A soft tap brings each brick into line, controlled force prevents shifting. Excess mortar is cleaned before it hardens, clean work saves time later. Birdsong marks a short rest, nature sets the working rhythm. A level confirms the wall remains straight, accuracy supports the roof structure. Another course begins slowly, slow starts prevent mistakes. Hands move with practiced confidence, experience guides each motion. Mortar joints are smoothed with care, smooth joints resist rain. Tools are wiped and placed aside briefly, order keeps the site safe. Fresh mortar is mixed again, consistency maintains strength. Bricks approach shoulder height, the space feels more enclosed. Sunlight reveals the wall texture, light helps spot imperfections. A pause allows the wall to firm, patience protects alignment. Loose debris is cleared from below. A clean base improves safety. Work resumes with steady breathing, calm breathing supports endurance. Corners are checked carefully for square-to-square corners, ease framing later. Bricks are staggered for strength, staggering locks the structure. A damp cloth refines the mortar joints, moist finishing prevents early cracks. Forest sounds deepen as time passes, work blends calmly with nature. Another level check confirms accuracy, small checks avoid large errors. Mortar thickness is adjusted slightly, even layers support durability. Hands rest briefly to ease tension, short breaks protect joints. Work continues at a calm pace, calm pacing preserves quality. The wall nears its planned height, completion feels closer. Final joints of this section are smoothed, finishing touches seal the work. Tools are set down gently, quiet replaces effort. A longer pause fills the clearing, stillness marks steady progress. 13100:43039:43000:39:47:000. The wall stands firm and even, strength is visible in silence. Preparation begins for the next phase. Roof planning comes next. Wooden beams are measured on the ground, accurate cuts prevent waste. Hands mark beam positions carefully, clear markings guide assembly. A saw moves slowly through the timber, controlled cuts keep edges straight. Fresh wood scent fills the air. Clean cuts improve joint fit. Beams are lifted into position carefully. Balanced lifting prevents accidents. Wood rests quietly atop the walls. Even placement stabilizes the frame. Fasteners are prepared within reach. Preparation saves energy. A hammer strikes with a muted rhythm. Even force secures the joint. The forest echoes softly with each strike. Natural sounds slow the pace. Each connection is checked by hand. Manual checks confirm stability. Hands pause between fastenings. Short rests maintain precision. More beams are aligned along the span. Uniform spacing supports the roof. Wood fibers creak slightly under pressure. Natural sounds guide adjustments. A level checks the beam line. Straight beams protect the roof. Minor adjustments are made quietly. Small fixes prevent future problems. Tools are set aside in order. Clear space improves safety. Corrugated metal sheets are placed nearby. Dry storage prevents rust. The next stage begins with calm focus. Each step moves the home forward. Hands lift the first metal sheet carefully. Light handling protects sharp edges. Metal meets wood with a hollow tone. Of proper overlap directs rainwater away. The sheet is aligned along the beam. Straight placement ensures clean drainage. Fasteners are driven in slowly, controlled speed prevents warping. Metal vibrates softly with each strike, gentle force avoids deformation. Spacing is checked before the next fixing, even spacing improves wind resistance. Another sheet is lifted and overlapped. Overlap strengthens weather protection. Edges are pressed firmly into alignment. Firm edges reduce noise and wind. Fasteners secure the second sheet. Balanced fixing distributes stress. The roof begins to take shape quietly. Shelter grows with steady care. 16100:48:52,000:00:48:56,000. Hands wipe away fine metal dust. Clean surfaces last longer. A short pause lets the frame settle. Stillness confirms balance. More sheets are positioned in sequence. Working in order prevents gaps. The sound of fastening repeats steadily. Repetition builds confidence. Light wind moves across the roof surface. Airflow tests stability naturally. Edges are checked for sharp points. Safe edges prevent injury. Hands slow as the roof nears completion. Care increases near the end. Final sheets are aligned with precision. Accuracy ensures long-term protection. Fasteners are tightened one last time. Final checks secure the roof. The roof reflects soft daylight. Covering is now complete. Tools are set aside to rest, completion invites calm. A slow walk inspects the roof edges, inspection confirms solid work. Forest sounds return to the foreground, nature and shelter coexist. Cool air flows beneath the new roof, shade improves interior comfort. Loose debris is swept from the floor. A clean interior improves safety. Hands smooth rough spots along the wall, even surfaces reduce maintenance. Openings are measured for simple doors, accurate sizing eases installation. Wooden boards are checked for dryness, dry wood prevents warping. A saw cuts slowly through timber, controlled cuts keep edges straight. Fresh wood scent fills the space, clean cuts improve joint fit. 18100:54:59:000:00:55:03000 boards are test fitted to the opening, careful fitting prevents gaps. A gentle tap seats the frame, light force avoids cracking. Fasteners are driven evenly, balanced fixing keeps frame square. Alignment is checked once more, repeated checks prevent rework. Small gaps are filled with mortar, sealing improves insulation. A damp cloth smooths filled edges, smooth edges resist moisture. Soft footsteps echo inside the shelter, the space begins to feel lived in. Air moves gently through the doorway, ventilation keeps the interior dry. Tools are gathered and set aside, order keeps the space calm. A short rest allows materials to settle, rest improves durability. Light patterns move across the floor and natural light reveals uneven spots. Minor adjustments are made quietly, small fixes prevent larger issues. The interior walls feel cool and solid, brick holds temperature well. A broom clears the floor again, clean floors improve comfort. Forest sounds drift gently inside, the house blends with nature. Hands rest briefly against the wall, the structure feels strong. Time slows inside the finished shelter, stillness marks progress. The doorway frames the forest view, simple design connects inside and out. Tools are stored neatly outside, clearing space improves flow. A quiet pause fills the completed room, of calm replaces effort. Cool shade settles evenly beneath the roof, the interior remains comfortable. Hands trace the brick surface slowly, texture reveals careful workmanship. Light enters softly through the doorway, natural brightness fills the space. A short pause allows quiet observation, details become more visible. Wooden supports are checked for firmness, strong supports protect the roof. Hands tighten a loose fastener gently, small adjustments ensure safety. Forest air flows steadily inside, ventilation keeps moisture away. Tools rest quietly against the wall, silence replaces construction noise. The floor is swept with slow strokes, clean space improves comfort. Soft footsteps echo briefly, the room feels balanced. Hands check the door frame edges, smooth edges reduce wear. Remaining dust is wiped away, simple care preserves materials. Light shifts as clouds pass overhead, the space responds gently. The roof blocks direct sunlight, shade keeps the interior cool. Hands rest on the doorway, the structure feels secure. Forest sounds soften inside, walls filter noise naturally. A slow breath fills the room, effort gives way to calm. No tools are needed anymore, work pauses naturally. The house stands steady among trees. It blends with its surroundings. Time passes quietly inside, stillness feels earned. Light reflects softly off the bricks, warm tones create comfort. Leaves move gently outside the doorway, nature remains close. Hands lower as the day ends, rest becomes important. The interior stays cool and calm, design supports simple living. No sound interrupts the quiet, peace settles naturally. The roof shields the home from wind, protection feels complete. Walls hold steady against changing light, strength shows in silence. A final look confirms the work, everything rests in place. The forest accepts the new shelter and balance remains undisturbed. Calm fills the finished home, the long journey continues quietly. Soft light settles across the walls, the space feels complete. A gentle breeze passes through, fresh air keeps the room dry. Hands rest quietly by the wall, the bricks feel cool. Forest sounds drift inside, the house stays connected to nature. Light moves slowly across the floor, time flows gently. The roof blocks harsh sunlight, shade improves comfort. No tools disturb the quiet, work has fully ended. The doorway frames a peaceful view, simplicity defines the space. air remains steady inside, brick regulates temperature. A slow breath fills the room, calm replaces effort. Shadows stretch along the walls, evening approaches quietly. The interior remains uncluttered, minimal space supports rest. Forest insects hum outside, natural rhythms continue. Hands rest as nothing needs fixing, completion feels certain. The structure stands firm, strength shows through stillness. Light fades toward dusk, the day closes calmly. The roof holds steady above, shelter feels reliable. The forest darkens beyond the doorway, night approaches slowly. Inside, the space remains peaceful, the house feels settled. I have finished building my dream house. I am happy with it. 25101:16:17:000:01:16:21:000. Night air cools the interior gently, brick walls release stored warmth. Forest sounds deepen after sunset, the shelter remains quietly protected. The doorway frames fading daylight, evening settles slowly. Soft shadows stretch along the walls, low light softens the space. The roof blocks cool night moisture, shelter proves its purpose. A gentle breeze moves through the opening and natural ventilation keeps air fresh. No movement disturbs the structure, stillness confirms stability. The forest hums quietly outside, life continues beyond the walls. Interior temperature remains steady, the brick balances heat and cool. Time passes slowly inside the shelter, calm becomes familiar. The doorway stays open to the night air, connection to nature remains. Soft darkness gathers in the corners, the space feels safe and enclosed. The roof holds firm against quiet wind, protection feels reliable. Forest insects create a steady rhythm, natural sound replaces silence. Nothing inside needs adjustment, the build feels complete. Walls remain cool to the touch, brick performs well overnight. A faint breeze moves through the doorway, air stays fresh without effort. Moonlight touches the floor lightly, nightlight enters softly. The shelter blends into forest darkness, respect for nature remains. Time continues without urgency, nothing calls for attention. The roof keeps the interior dry and calm, function meets simplicity. Walls hold their quiet presence, a balance defines the space. Forest air drifts gently inside, ventilation stays natural. No tools remain in sight, work has fully ended. The interior feels settled and complete, nothing more is required. Night deepens outside the shelter, the house remains steady. Soft darkness rests on brick walls, calm fills the room. Distant forest sounds fade, silence becomes dominant. The structure stands without movement, strength is unquestioned. Time passes in gentle stillness, peace feels familiar. Cool air flows evenly inside, comfort remains consistent. The doorway welcomes the forest, nature is always near. No sound interrupts the calm, the home rests fully. Brick surfaces reflect faint light, subtle textures remain visible. The forest quiets even more, night reaches its depth. Inside, the space remains unchanged, stability defines the shelter. The roof stands firm above, protection feels complete. Nothing requires attention now, the journey has slowed. The house exists quietly in the forest, harmony remains intact. Soft air brushes the doorway, night breathes gently. Interior temperature stays balanced, brick regulates naturally. No changes occur within the space, completion feels certain. Forest sounds drift farther away, silence deepens. The shelter remains still and secure, confidence settles in. Leaves move softly outside, nature continues its rhythm. Inside, the space stays unchanged, simplicity holds strong. Roof and walls work together, design meets function. Nothing disturbs the quiet interior, rest feels complete. The house stands calmly through the night, strength remains constant. Time flows without interruption, peace becomes normal. Cool air settles evenly inside, comfort remains steady. The doorway frames deep forest darkness, nature stays close. No effort is required anymore, the work is truly finished. The shelter rests in quiet balance, harmony defines the build. Forest life continues softly outside, the house listens in silence. Brick walls remain cool to the touch, material choice proves wise. The roof stands firm against night, air protection remains constant. Inside, nothing changes, completion feels final. The space holds steady through time, strength needs no movement. I have finished building my dream house. I am happy with it.